There is a moment, standing in front of certain objects, when your eyes and your understanding stop agreeing with each other. Your eyes say, cloth, thin, damp, clinging cloth, laid gently over a dead man's face. Your understanding, once it catches up, says something else entirely. There is no cloth here. There has never been any cloth here. What you are looking at is stone that has been convinced, somehow, to stop behaving like stone. This is the veiled Christ, carved in 1753 in Naples by a sculptor named Giuseppe Sanmartino. It rests today inside the Cappella Sansevero, at the center of a small chapel built around it, where the light is deliberately low and the silence is deliberately total, as if the room itself is holding still so the marble can keep its secret a little longer. The figure is Christ, laid out after the crucifixion, on a bed of 2 carved cushions. A shroud covers him from the crown of his head to his feet. The shroud sinks into his closed eyes. It pulls tight across the bridge of his nose. It settles into the hollow of his throat, traces the curve of each rib, gathers loosely around his slackened hands. Every inch of that shroud, every fold, every wrinkle, every place where the fabric seems to lift slightly off the skin before falling again, is the same block of Carrara marble as the body underneath it. One block, no seams, no second piece hidden somewhere to patch a mistake. That fact alone should be enough to stop you. But it isn't even the strangest part of the story, because when this sculpture was new, the people who saw it did not believe a man had carved it. They believed something else had happened to it. The patron behind the chapel was Raimondo di Sangro, Prince of Sansevero, a nobleman with a reputation that reached past eccentric and into unsettling. He built mechanical carriages. He experimented with fireworks that mimicked birdsong. He was known across Naples as a man who tinkered with substances and processes most people didn't have names for. So when visitors stood in front of a marble shroud thin enough to see a body breathing beneath it, the explanation that made sense to them wasn't skill, it was alchemy. A story spread that the prince had taught Sanmartino a secret method for turning real linen into stone, that the veil had once been actual cloth, laid over the body and chemically transformed. For generations, some visitors believed that story outright. Some still do. The documents say otherwise. A payment receipt, dated December 16, 1752, still preserved in the historical archive of the Bank of Naples, records 50 ducats paid to Sanmartino for a statue of Christ covered by a veil also of marble. Not linen, not transformed cloth. Marble, from the beginning, described that way in the patron's own paperwork, months before the work was finished. The legend didn't survive because the evidence was thin. It survived because the truth was harder to accept than the myth. A chemical trick, however strange, is still a process. A 20-something sculptor doing this by hand, with a hammer and a chisel, and no way to undo a single wrong strike. That's not a process. That's something closer to nerve. And Sanmartino wasn't even supposed to be the one holding the chisel. The commission first belonged to Antonio Corradini, a sculptor already celebrated for his veiled marble figures, the closest thing Naples had to an expert in exactly this illusion. Corradini began preparing the Christ, left behind a small terracotta model of his intended design, and then died before a single cut was made in the marble. The task fell to Sanmartino, and by the chapel's own account, he looked at Corradini's model and set it aside, started again, from nothing, on his own terms. That's worth sitting with. A young sculptor, inheriting a dead man's unfinished promise, working for a patron already known for demanding the impossible, and instead of following the safer, approved plan already sitting in front of him, he chose to solve the problem his own way, in a single irreversible block, with no one left to blame if it failed. Look closely enough, and you can find the proof of exactly how far that nerve went. On the forehead, just beneath the veil, there's a single vein, raised, swollen, faintly pulsing under the stone surface. To carve that, Sanmartino first had to sculpt the anatomy underneath, as if the veil didn't exist. The vein, the muscle, the bone structure. Only after that was finished could he carve a second layer over it. The illusion of fabric, thin enough to let that anatomy still read through the stone. He built the body once. Then he built the fabric a second time, entirely to describe the first. That's not decoration, that's evidence. Proof that everything hidden beneath the veil had to fully exist before it could be concealed at all. And that's where the sculpture stops being simply astonishing and starts being genuinely difficult to sit with. Because a shroud is supposed to be an act of mercy, something laid over a body to spare the living from the worst of what death looks like. But look at what this veil actually does. It doesn't soften the wounds, it sharpens them. Every rib is more visible through the stone than it would be on bare skin. Every mark of suffering reads more clearly, not less. And the covering doesn't hide the body from you, it reports on it. So which is it? Is the veil protecting Christ, easing him into stillness, granting him a kind of dignity in death? Or is it doing the opposite, stripping away every last place suffering could hide, forcing you to see more, not less, than an uncovered body ever could? Compassion or exposure. The sculpture doesn't choose for you. Nearly 3 centuries later, people still walk into that chapel, stop in front of this reclining figure, and lean in closer. Not because they need a better look, but because some part of them refuses to accept the first one. The receipts say marble. The documents say one man, one block, one uninterrupted act of labor. Your eyes, even now, will keep insisting on cloth. And that's the question the veiled Christ never quite lets you put down. Not whether the sculptor was skilled enough to do this. The paperwork already settled that argument 270 years ago. The question is, which one you're going to trust standing in that room? The documents in the archive, or your own eyes, looking at something that still, after all this time, refuses to look like stone?